Hey guys, I'm back again with another video, and today I have for you a humongous haul. Okay, so these are books that I have acquired since, I want to say since the third week of January, pretty much. So I'm going to start with two books that I picked up on Amazon, and the first one is The Nix, and I showed The Nix over on my Instagram. And this is a book that I have been eyeing for like ever, like, because this came out, I think it came out last year, and there weren't, in the beginning, there weren't very many people that had, people were talking about it, but no one had actually really read it and reviewed it. So I wasn't sure what to think, but then I went and I read a little bit of it. I think it was on Amazon, and I was like, oh my God, I have to have this one. I have to read this book. Now, as you can see, here we go again. This is the problem. It is another humongous book. This book is 625 pages, and it's quite a large, hardcover. But it is blurbed on the back by John Irving. So that tells me something, because I really like John Irving. So if he likes it, I'll probably like it. But it says, meet Samuel Anderson, stalled writer, board teacher at a local college, obsessive player of online video games. He hasn't seen his mother Faye in decades, not since she abandoned her family when he was a boy. Okay, so that gives you a little idea. This should be a little heartbreaking and damned interesting. So I will probably, I'm going away to the States for a few weeks, so everything I'll read there will be on my Kindle. So this will have to wait until I come back the month of May. And if all goes well, I might be buddy reading this one with Camo. I'm not sure. So yeah, this one is definitely for the month of May. All right, next book I picked up is The Sport of Kings. And this one I've been eyeing as well for a little while, but I wasn't so sure if I was going to pick it up. But I decided to, and then I was doubly pushed to pick it up when I saw that it was longlisted for the Bailey's Women's Prize this year. And this is a beautiful book. But here again, another problem. It's long as AF. So this one is 545 pages, but it is a very large book like the other one because it's hardcover. But this is what it says. It says, Hellsmith, an indomitable thoroughbred filly, runs for the glory of the Forge family, one of Kentucky's oldest and most powerful dynasties. Henry Forge has partnered with his daughter Henrietta in an endeavor of raw obsession to breed a champion. But when Alman Sonesi, an ambitious young black man, comes to work on their farm after a stint in prison, the violence of the Forge's history and the exigencies of appetite are brought starkly into view. Entangled by fear, prejudice, and lust, the three tether their personal dreams of glory in the speed and power of Hellsmith. Okay, now, I got to get to this one. So maybe the month of May I'll be reading two giant books and that's it, because the problem with the big books is that you never know how fast you're going to read them. So for example, if you can, if the story it just pulls you in, it sucks you in, you can probably read it in a week. But if, it's one of those slow burn books, then you could drag it on for 2 weeks. So I could wind up probably only reading 2 books in May if these aren't as, paced as quickly as I think they will be. So anyway, we'll see. Last Monday, I went and spent the day in Paris with Manika. If you don't know Manika, go check out her channel. I'll link it below. She is very, very cool, and she reads a lot of good books. She reads books in English and in French. So you might want to check her out because she really talks about some books that I don't see translation versions on BookTube, on Anglophone BookTube. So we went to Gilbert Joseph And I got this bag because otherwise I was not walking out the place with these books in my hands, because that would just be crazy. So I picked up first a book of American Martyrs by Joyce Carol Oates, and my book is bashed up, honey. But anyway, so this one's, it says Gus Voorhees is a pioneer in the advancement of women's reproductive rights and a controversial abortion provider in the American Midwest. One morning, as he arrives at his clinic, he is ambushed by a hardline Christian Luther Dunphy and shot dead. The killing leaves in its wake two fatherless families, the Voorheeses, who are affluent, highly educated, secular, and pro-choice, and the Dunphys, they're opposite on all accounts. When the daughters of the two families, Naomi Voorhees and Dawn Dunphy, glimpse each other at the trial of Luther Dunphy, their initial response is mutual hatred, but their lives are tangled together forever by what has happened, and throughout the years to come and the events that follow, neither can quite forget the other. Okay, so this is by Joyce Carol Oates, and this is apparently her newest book. Here again, another problem. This one is 736 pages. So probably won't get to this one until the month of June. Yeah, I don't know. There's some trend at the moment with books that are by people that people often read, but the books seem to be getting longer and longer. Anyway, next book I have is Alik Shafek's Three Daughters of Eve. Now, I have read her before. The book that I read, it was called The Bastard of Istanbul, and I read that like maybe 3 or 4 years ago with my book club, maybe even 5. But this one I've seen quite a lot of blog posts on, and they have been very intriguing and have made me want to check it out, because Alif Shafek is a very excellent writer, and if you don't know her, you should check her out. I also read another one by her a couple years ago. It was a short one. It was more like a non-fiction type book, whereas The Bastard of Istanbul is a fiction novel, and so is this one. It says Peri, a wealthy Turkish housewife and mother, is on her way to a dinner party at a seaside mansion in Istanbul when a beggar snatches her handbag. As she wrestles to get it back, a photograph falls to the ground and an old Polaroid of 3 young women and their university professor. A relic from a past and a love Peri had tried desperately to forget. The photograph takes Peri back to Oxford University as a 19-year-old sent abroad for the first time, to her dazzling rebellious professor and his life-changing course on God, to the house she shared with 2 best friends, Shireen and Mona, and their arguments about identity, Islam, and feminism, and finally to the scandal that tore them all apart. Yes, now this one, probably as soon as I get back, I'm going to just grab this one because, you know, it's excellent. It's Alif Shafak, okay? So we got to read that. And then I got Exit West by Mohsin Hamid, and this is everywhere, you know, so this is probably one of those books that everybody's going to be grabbing up, but I grabbed it up just because it really sounds interesting, and he's starting to be a very interesting writer that people are picking up, and he makes you think, apparently. Now, I haven't read his other ones, which is The Reluctant Fundamentalist, and I can't remember what the other one's name is, but this is his newest, and this is dealing with immigrants. So, you know, that's the subject of the moment. So hopefully I can get to this one in April when I get back from the States, because it's fairly short. Next, I then went to W.H. Smith and got this lovely bag, but this was 2 weeks ago. I was there with a friend, and she was in the kids section and I was in the literary section, and you know, we were just browsing, and it was very rainy and stormy outside, so that was even worse. You know, you go into the bookstore, you got to come out with something. So I came out with these. Now, the first one I'm going to show you is Food, Health, and Happiness by Oprah Winfrey, and I showed this book over on Instagram. You have these lovely big pictures. You have a little bit on Oprah's life. especially concerning her weight gain and weight loss and, you know, that kind of thing, her relationship with food. And then you have these really cool recipes all the way through. And what's interesting is you have everything. You have the calories. You even have the Weight Watchers point system, you know, down at the bottom as well. And the recipes aren't just, you know, like, you know, weird salads and stuff, you know. It's got, you know, all kinds of cool food like that. You have stuff like this. So it, you know, it's a book that I absolutely wanted to pick up because I just love, you know, cookbooks and stuff like that. I'm obsessed. So then the next book I picked up was Push by Sapphire. This is a short one. I'm hoping to get to this one before I leave, but you know, I'm leaving very soon, so I'm not sure, but I'm going to try. At the moment, I'm reading The Plot Against America. I'm buddy reading it with Adam and Jess and Mel, and we're having some great discussions over on Voxer about that. That book is just, wow, that book is blowing my mind. But I picked up Push because this was on the W.H. Smith Black History Month table, and I've never read this book, and I feel really bad that I haven't read this book because I think a lot of people have read this book and they really love it. So yeah, I think this is one of those must #read so lit books. Next book, which definitely I need to read soon, is I Am Not Your Negro, with that intense, you know, stare from Baldwin. There's a movie out right now. I haven't seen the movie, but I think I prefer reading the book first and then maybe catching the movie after. So I think this is a definite must read #read so lit classic. Okay, next, this book I've seen already on a couple of blogs, and I think I saw it mentioned, I think it was on Rincey Reed's channel. She talked about Blood at the Root, a racial cleansing in America. Now this book discusses racial cleansing happening in Forsyth County, Georgia. And this is in 1912, I think it is. And this book, a lot of people have been talking about it just because of everything we're going through in America. And the book is actually blurbed by Brian Stevenson, who wrote Just Mercy. It's also blurbed by U.S. Congressman John Lewis. And it's blurbed by Tayari Jones, who wrote Silver Sparrow. Now, let me read what she wrote as her blurb. She put, "Some would say that Patrick Phillips should leave well enough alone and keep quiet. But his, in parentheses, voice is too honest, too brave, and too brilliant to be silenced. With a poet's gift for music and with detectives' dedication to the facts, Blood at the Root faces the specter of a bloody history without turning its back on the hope that the present has brought us. If the truth sets us free, this book will give you wings." Okay, that's what she put. So this is probably another must-read book as well, about some moment in history that has been somewhat ignored. Next, I picked up the Happy Reader. This is a magazine that Penguin puts out, and this time it is Kristen Scott Thomas that's on the front, and it talks about like the books that she really likes or that she recommends. And then it goes to, I think they're doing Willa Cather here, Oh Pioneers, that's what it is. And then there are a couple of other short stories towards the back of this little magazine. So I've not read this before. This is something that I just picked up to see exactly what it was like. I hesitated about picking it up a couple of months ago when it came out, but you also have all the other moments, important moments of civil rights that are spoken about in the book as well. So I saw this on the table for Black History Month, and I was intrigued by it because I think this one is geared towards young readers, young adult readers, and mostly because they've done a film on this. Now, I haven't seen the film. I know the film is either coming out here or has already come out. because I heard an excerpt from it on the radio, but have not seen it. If anybody out there has seen it, can you link down below and tell me what you thought about it? And I will try to read this one and see, you know, if it's really something, you know, how good it is, because I've not heard anyone talk about this book. I haven't even seen it on a blog or anything, but I just picked it up because I was curious. So yeah, so that's about it. Those are all of the books that I have picked up recently, and I'm good. I'm good now. You know, I don't need anything else. If I pick up anything else, it'll probably be in the States, and my definite book that I would like to pick up is White Rage. It's already been recommended to me by 2 people. So since I'm going to the States, I'm just gonna pick it up there and either start reading it there or just read it when I come back. But other than that, I don't know what else I would be picking up in the States unless something else is released next month. Then, you know, I'll pick that up. But I'm not going, you know, to really like bookshop, but I probably will go to a bookstore or 2. And if I do, I'll try to bring my camera if it's an independent bookstore so that you can see what it's like, the independent bookstores in my hometown, New Orleans. So that's all I have for you today. Bye.